Finding players with low ownership and inexpensive salaries is crucial to success when you're building those DFS lineups on DraftKings. Luckily, we have SI fantasy analyst Ben Heisler and Michael Fabiano with us to give us a breakdown for week 2. So, Ben, I'll start with you. Low ownership players for this week. You have 3 of them. Who are they?
Let's start with Tom Brady, your guy, Bill Enright. He's coming into DraftKings at $6,500, and no one's going to want to play him. Think about everything that's been said about Tom Brady this week. He's washed, he's finished, he's hot garbage, he's not good with Tampa. I mean, the reality is that he was still a top 10 fantasy quarterback last week in a very difficult matchup on the road against the Saints with his first new team in how many years? I think he's in a great bounce back spot. He's going to be ready to change the narrative. And I think Bruce Arians, even if he doesn't have Chris Godwin at 100%, same thing with Mike Evans, will still be able to take plenty of shots downfield and burn a Carolina Panthers defense that got trounced last week by the Raiders. So I think Tom Brady is in a fantastic spot on DraftKings for low ownership. At the running back spot, give me David Johnson. It's a difficult matchup for Houston at home this week against Baltimore, but he was incredibly efficient in the Thursday night opener against Kansas City. Duke Johnson might miss this game as well, so he's going to get plenty of touches in the backfield. And also, think back to what you saw from David Johnson before. He's more involved in the passing game than ever before. DraftKings offers full point PPR, and I think he'll be very active in the passing game at only $5,800. Now at the wide receiver spot, another guy, good opportunity for a squeaky wheel game, and that is A.J. Brown. Another dream matchup against Jacksonville where he has averaged right around 28 yards per reception over the course of the 2 games that he's played him in his career. So he can light up Jacksonville. And again, everybody's talking about Corey Davis and the value play there, but I think for pivoting to try and get to a guy that didn't impress a lot of people in that Monday night game, I think A.J. Brown is in a fantastic spot for Tennessee going up against Jacksonville at home this week.
All right, so those were the expected players with low ownership. Love that trio list there, Ben. Let's go to Fabs for the bargain buys. Fabs, who are you eyeing up?
It's crazy. I'm going with Mitchell Trubisky again. I went with him in week 1. He was tremendous, over 24 fantasy points against Detroit. This week, he's got the Giants, and their defense, you want to talk about hot garbage. That is that defense in New York. They gave up 3 touchdowns to Ben Roethlisberger last week. They have allowed an average of over 20 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks dating back to 2019. So Trubisky at home is a very nice DFS play at $5,500. Now, let's move on to the running back position and Benny Snell, one of 3 running backs in the league in week 1 to rush for over 100 yards. He led all Steelers running backs in snaps and touches once James Conner went out with the injury. And if Conner can't go in week 2, Snell will face a Broncos defense that gave up over 100 rushing yards to Derrick Henry last week. And Benny at this point is at $4,500. So that's a very good bargain. And finally, Michael Gallup. Giddy up. How about them Cowboys? All right, last week was not very good. Next time, McCarthy hopefully will kick the field goal. Gallup didn't have a huge game. It couldn't have been better, though, because what about that offensive pass interference that wasn't? All right, I'm just a disgruntled Dallas Cowboys fan, but Gallup actually led all Cowboys wide receivers in snaps played and yards per target. He's got Atlanta this week. They gave up 232 yards and 46.4 fantasy points to Seahawks wide receivers in week 1. Heck, I'm starting Gallup at $5,600. I'm starting CeeDee Lamb. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair at the Jerry Dome.
High-scoring affair indeed. DraftKings Sportsbooks has this as the highest over-under of the week with 52.5 points. For more fantasy gambling and DFS advice, get that membership to SI Fantasy Pro. All you have to do is sign up for $19.99 a month, and you can go by si.com/gambling.